Hi, this is Shanker, and I'm making a video after a very long time because I think the entire world was dealing with COVID. I hope everybody is safe, good, and better. I didn't want to make any videos during the COVID time. It's just my thought process. Of course, I failed in predicting when COVID would finish, or also in predicting about clearly about the West Bengal elections. I mean, I did say it's a very tough fight, but it will come out to be a very tough fight actually. So, but here in case of West Bengal, I thought that I feel I did not have the um, exact birth details of Mamta Banerjee, and whatever we get on the net, etc., is not appropriate. So that could be one of the reason. But as far as COVID is concerned, yes, I think nobody has been able to do anything about it. People have seen when Jupiter transits to a better place, it could become better, and Saturn retrogrades, it could become bad, it becomes direct, it could become difficult. I mean, these are just, we're saying planetary positions, and we are trying to analyze the pandemic as we analyze in the case of individual. I think there is something more to it. There is something to do with the universal consciousness. There is something which is amiss. We do not know. Probably as saints did know about things. So those are things which we need to really, work on astrology. Astrology is a perfect science, is a right science, but there are a lot of unknowns. It is like what is coming about in physics, and as physics is evolving in terms of dynamic physics, things are coming out in it. So that is it. So today I'm going to talk about, I was this is I'm going to talk about fertility. Now, what is it by which you can see fertility and certain other things? I've read Bhrigu Nadi system quite in details, and it's a passion with me. I've been doing it the last about now at the age of 21, so it's now about 40 42 years I've been doing the Nadi Bhrigu Nadi horoscope, and then I also was recently during the pandemics, during the nights, I started reading Lal Kitab, and I was seeing that there's a lot of kind of a relationship between Lal Kitab and Bhrigu Nadi astrology, because but there are differences today. Lal Kitab is being used for tonas and tutkas, but that is not the way it has to be used. That itself is very complex, and the way it has to be done is also very complex. So we should not try Lal Kitab on the on changing things and giving things and etc. In terms of what is written in Lal Kitab. That is a very, very complex thing, and you need a lot of intuition power and a deep study of the science. But yes, there are certain basic principles in which Nadi as well as the Lal Kitab both stand to be stand and need to be seen, because in both cases we start from Aries, Taurus, Gemini. I mean, the Lagna is taken as the Aries. Even in Lal Kitab, the Lagna is taken as Aries, and then we have 1 to 12 signs. More emphasis given to the Kal Purush Kundali, and more emphasis also given to the planets which are in the second, 12th, and of course Lal Kitab has got a more complex method of aspects, and the Farmans, what they call, they're different, but I'm not going on all those details. What I'm going to talk about is two planets, Budh and Shukra. Budh is Mercury and Shukra is Venus. Now, even in Bhrigu Nadi, it is written that whenever Mercury is alone, it doesn't give good results. Such a person who has Mercury alone may have all the capabilities existing inside himself due to other planets, but ultimately when he leaves the world, he leaves without any name, fame. उसको यश नहीं मिलता है, as you call in Hindi. तो यश नहीं मिलता है, जो कि लोग कहते हैं कि अगर कुंडली में बुध बिल्कुल अकेला पड़ा हो, so that is important, and that is what Lal Kitab also says कि अगर बुध कुंडली में अकेला पड़ा हो तो आदमी को यश नहीं मिलता. Of course, उसमें there are things which are common. Budh is good in Gemini and in Virgo, so we say Budh is good in the third house, and also in the 6th house. तो तीसरे और छठे घर में बुध अच्छा होता है. In the 12th house, of course, it is debilitated. So in pieces are in the 12th house, it is debilitated, exalted in Virgo. But Budh alone is it never gives good results. Try it in a large number of horoscopes and you would see it. Exceptions are there, and there are reasons to exceptions. But when Budh is alone in an horoscope, unexpected, it would leave a person who is doing well in life and has got much greater capabilities. But in the end, after all the sound, drama, dance, fury, efforts, उसको वो जो मिलना चाहिए वो नहीं मिलेगा. So this is what is common in both Lal Kitab and in Bhrigu Nadi system. But I would also like to tell about the relationship between Budh and Shukra. Budh is like the egg, and Shukra is the energy which travels in the egg. It is something like what a sperm is. A sperm has a head, the head of the sperm, and that is governed by a Rahu. And Rahu is nothing but a very good friend of Shukra, and the tail is governed by Ketu. Ketu is nothing but the DNA of a person. Ketu is the DNA and Rahu is this thing. Now, this Rahu and Ketu together actually make Venus. And in Lal Kitab, when you go to the Varshphal, Rahu and Ketu do come together, and when Rahu Ketu come together, they say Shukra is formed. Now, even in the case of seeing fertility, as well as how well you will do in business, you should see these two planets very carefully. That is, you have to see Venus and Mercury very carefully and how they are together. Now here the thumb rule and the rule which I have seen, which applies in most of the cases, is that Venus should be ahead of Budh, because then only Budh, which is the tail, which is the energy, which is the which travels towards Shukra to do the reproduction. So Budh should be behind Shukra. It should be Surya, Budh, Shukra are together. So Budh should be behind Shukra. It is also very important that Budh is not alone, because when Budh is alone, it loses a large part of its efficacy, not so much in reproduction, but in the case of managing business and wealth. I have seen an umpteen number of cases wherever Budh is ahead of Shukra, it will create problem. I've seen a horoscope which, let's say, is a Gemini Lagna, and then you have Aries as the 11th house. So in case of Lal Kitab, Gemini we put as 1, and this will be 11th house. So Budh is in the first house, that is in the house of first house. That house is basically ruled by Surya. In the case of Lal Kitab, the first house is the king, and the king is ruled by Surya. So, and Budh tries to get the result of Surya, the king. It tries to become a king. And if the king is there, it becomes, tries to become more like a king. Shukra, which is Venus, is not very, well disposed, and is not a very great friend of, so it's not a great friend, it's not a friend of Surya, even in our Vimshotri system and the other systems also. So if you have Shukra, I have seen people, Budh having it in Lagna and Shukra in the 11th house. I have seen people, ladies not conceiving at all. And I've seen it in large number of horoscopes where Budh is in Lagna, let's say with Surya, and Shukra is all alone in the 11th house. That is, Shukra is behind Buddha. That is, Shukra is 11th to Budh. So it has led to a problem in conception and also in other issues. So one very important rule is that a horoscope to be good should have Shukra ahead of Buddha. Now, exception to this also is that whenever Shukra is in the first house, it becomes the king. It becomes like a ruler. And whenever Shukra is in the first house, then it is governed by Sun. It is also the house of Mars. So it gets a kind of a power behind it. And then if Buddha is behind it, it is a very good thing for both fertility as well as for earning money, doing well in business, and those kinds of things. So this is one rule which, if you apply it sincerely and see it, you would always see that it would come right. And of course, you have to also see that Shukra is not with an enemy. Shukra's enemies are Surya and Rahu. So if Shukra is ahead of Buddha, but it is with Surya and Rahu, then it will create problems, because it is with enemy. It is not in a comfortable situation. When Shukra is with Sun, which it does not like, and it is with Surya, then and it is with Rahu. It is not in a comfortable situation, and it will not lead to having you to produce a child, even though Buddha is behind it. But it may be good for earning money through various other means which are very different than the normal means, which is a different aspect altogether. Now, here an exception is also there, that whenever Buddha is with Mangal and with Mars, what you call, and Shukra is ahead of it. I mean, the rule is Shukra should be ahead of Buddha. So when Shukra is ahead of Buddha, that is in the next house, and Buddha is behind the other house, and Buddha is with Mangal, then there are very good chances of conception, because Mars is nothing but blood. So blood and energy. So Buddha gives that energy. So Buddha is a karak of business. It is a karak of communication. It is a karak of ensuring your fertility. It is a part, Buddha and Shukra make a part of your umbilical cord. Buddha and Shukra also make a part of the sperm, which I've tried to explain you. The front part Rahu and the second part Ketu. When Shukra and Buddha are like that in good houses, friendly, and Shukra ahead of Buddha, then even your Rahu and Ketu, wherever they are, they get placed very well and tend to give good results. And if Rahu and Ketu tend to give good results, nothing in the world can stop you to, do well in life. So like this is not a thing which, I can explain you in one video. It could require 10 videos to listen, but those who know astrology and who want to apply it, do apply it. If you have any queries, put it in a question box. You can talk to me at connectingminds@gmail.com. Have a look at my site. I have got my books through Sagar Publication, and also my astrology books are through Prabhat Publishers. So you can also get my books from Prabhat Publication. Mr. Piyush Goyal is there. So Prabhat Publication also has written my book in Hindi, and they would be soon coming out with a book in English also. So Hindi books are available with Prabhat Publication, the basic book on astrology. And you can always be connected with him. This astrology is my hobby. I do it as a hobby, and there is nothing which is professional about it. So this was my first video. I think the pandemic is going down. Again, there are some planetary positions happening. So whenever some good planetary position happens, this pandemic reduces. Again, when something negative happens, it increases. But we really do not know actually when this pandemic will finish or come to zero. I think no astrologer, he can keep on talking whatever it is. I said it is a universal consciousness which is important. And I've also told you about the two planets, Budh and Shukra. Budh in our traditional system is a very, very strong planet. It is represented by Durga Devi, and Durga was a Devi which had the power of all the, everybody gave its power, and thus Durga got formed. So Budh is therefore represented by Durga. So these planets which have been told are actually a part of a very complex physics and energy dynamics which is there, which I am trying to decode and research at the moment. Try this out, what I have told you. Thanks, and bye for now.